What is up, everybody? How are you doing today? Welcome to the Fantasy Tap. My name is Michael, and this is John. Happy Thursday, October 8th. We are very excited to have you. John, how are you doing today?
Doing better than a lot of the Tennessee Titans players right now.
Ah, yes, you indeed. I would say you are.
I am.
At least two of them.
If not more. Hopefully it doesn't get a lot worse for him, or otherwise we won't be able to see him at all this week.
Yeah, that won't be good, especially for those of you with Jonnu Smith, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley, Devin Singletary, all of Zach Moss. The list goes on.
A lot of relevant players for a lot of people.
Yeah, big time. That's a big game. We named two potential quarterback ones, running back one, a couple wide receivers who could potentially be, oh my goodness, it's craziness out here. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a packed show for you today. We have a very good show. We're going to be introducing something new, a little quick introduction. We're going to be doing questions of the day. Now, it's just going to be one quick question that John and I are going to talk about. You can send in a question if you've got a question. It can be about anything. Fantasy football related, football related,
life related.
Yeah, beer related.
Whatever you guys want.
Yeah. Try to stick to fantasy football. But if you got a cool question, send it in. We'll talk about it just to get the show rolling, and then we will jump into our usual show. But anyways, before we jump into the question of the day, let's talk about our beer of the day real quick. We're drinking on the Slightly Mighty Lowcarb, got to keep that figure, IPA by Dogfish Head Brewery.
Getting those summer bodies ready just in time for winter.
Yes.
That Mike's bringing over that low-cal IPA, watching his figure, like he said. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, really, really good.
Worked out twice today.
It is an IPA. It does have that hoppy flavor still. Even though it is low on carbs, so we'll see what it looks like at the end of the show.
Yeah, probably won't look like anything. We'll drink it all.
That's why we got backups over here.
So our question of the day is sent in by us. What do you think should happen if the Tennessee Titans Buffalo Bills game is canceled? We've already seen the Titans Pittsburgh game postponed. Pushed back. Last week was their bye week. Obviously, there was some rule breaking for the Tennessee Titans this week, which we'll get into a little bit later. But what do you think the NFL should do as a whole if that game starts to get canceled, or even if something happens with the Patriots game, the Patriots-Broncos game?
Personally, I think if the Tennessee Titans aren't able to play this week, what you're going to have to do is realistically force the Tennessee Titans. Force quarantine their team, make them separate for 2 weeks. They've already missed 1 week, so they should have already been doing that, hopefully. But it seems like they continue to come out with people continuing to test positive. Along with that, before the season even started, all of the coaches, all of the owners were all in agreement that this is not going to be a normal season or a completely fair season due to this COVID situation. So I think you just got to keep playing with how it rolls, and it's all part of the situation. If you lose some games because of it, then that's part of it. Especially if you're not following guidelines and not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you need to be penalized. You don't need to be penalized for it, but people shouldn't be
gallivanting around.
No, not even other teams shouldn't be hurt because of it.
Right.
By postponing their game, I think they should just be given the win and here's a free bye week.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. We'll get into what exactly happened in a bit. But I mean, personally, I could definitely see the Titans, forfeiting the game potentially just because they didn't follow the rules. But I think if that game gets affected, and then you've got the Broncos Pats game, if something happens to that. And we start seeing these outbreaks a little bit more, whether it's this week or the following week. I think they may just need to take, maybe a league-wide week bye or two, just to kind of regroup, quarantine, try to get everybody healthy, and then hopefully implement maybe I mean, they've been doing a great job so far. I mean, we obviously we're dealing with it now, which we knew that it was going to come, but I think it's a little worse than expected, just because one team is really getting it, and now, it's starting to hit a couple other teams. But maybe take a 2-week break, and then implement a couple more rules, or figure out how we can move forward to finish the rest of the season out. I personally think the playoffs should be a bubble style format. I know it's hard to do 16 weeks, 17 weeks plus a whole playoff series in a bubble for hundreds of families, thousands of families almost, with the staff and everything like that. So, but I think come playoff time, I think the bubble should be implemented. But for now, I think that, let's see how it works out this week. And then if it gets too bad from there, maybe like a little bit of a break.
See, my only real problem with implementing maybe just a break is just once that break is over, you're going to be seeing, hopefully not, but you're more than likely going to be seeing the similar situation where a player tests positive or staff member will test positive, and by the time they test positive, it's more than likely someone else is going to be tested positive too, and we're going to end up in the same situation. Outside of a bubble being realistically the only way that a 2-week break and we're not going to have any issues. But like you just mentioned, the logistics behind building a bubble for something the size of the NFL isn't realistic until maybe like you're talking about playoff time. So that's why I think that the best course would be to just continue on the season, next man up mentality. It's just like an injury. If your players got COVID, they're injured for 2 weeks at a minimum until they're healthy again and clear. If your other players are at risk, once your team loses enough players, then you get the forfeit. That's why they expanded the rosters. That's why they've done the ability to bring players up from the practice squad, send them back down. IR got moved down to 3 weeks. There's been plenty of opportunity for teams to make adjustments to be prepared for groups of players to be taken out. And I don't think that stopping the season is going to fix the problem.
I don't think the biggest issue is the bodies to be able to play. I think the biggest thing is the shutdown of the facilities. So practices going to no contact, obviously on your iPad or on your MacBook, Zoom calls and stuff like that. I think that's the biggest implication, and not necessarily the bodies. So it's hard to act like it's just another injury just because it does shut the entire facility down. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the NFL does, how they handle it. Like I said, so far they've done a pretty good job. So I do think that they'll continue forward, figure something out. They're working with some of the best doctors and people, for this around the world. Or in the world. So definitely going to be interesting. Now let's jump into what exactly happened, what is happening. We'll start off with Stephon Gilmore with the Pats. He tested positive. So that Pats Broncos game is in jeopardy currently. They did shut down the facility, the Patriots facility. They went to all Zoom meetings and things like that. So they are going to retest. They have to have 2 days worth of testing and all negatives in order to be reopened. So crossing our fingers, hopefully that happens. 2 more Tennessee Titans after 2 days of testing. Day and a half, 2 days of testing negatives. 2 more players today tested positive. So that facility remains shut down. And the Bills game, like we were talking about, is in jeopardy as well. Not very good. And then the worst part about it was they were photographed last week practicing, some players at a local school. So, and that's a no-no.
Yeah, no, they're supposed to, when they're shut down, be shut down completely and just be staying away and almost self-quarantining. So, again, part of my reason on why I don't believe a full season shutdown is a good course, because it doesn't seem like, regardless, players are going to be doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does stink too, though, because you think about it. It's like, they're trying to go to work,
Mm-hmm.
just like every, day people, they want to, this is their job, and, they want to perfect it and do it to the best of their ability. So it's just an unfortunate situation, but I think the NFL will figure out what the best route for the league is and move forward from here. Now, there were a bunch of injuries.
Oh my gosh, so many players are down. Everyone needs to be paying attention to their rosters because just looking at the limiteds, let alone the players that didn't even practice today, you're going to have a lot of questions going into this week.
Yeah. So here, I'm just going to go through and list a few the limiteds from today's practices, fantasy relevant, obviously. Will Dissly was limited with an Achilles injury still. Chris Carson, his knee injury, he was limited today as well. Carlos Hyde, his shoulder limited. Cam Akers, rib injury there still. He is looking like he's going to play this week, though, which is nice. Raheem Mostert, his knee was still, banged up. He's limited. They're thinking he could potentially play this week.
It was his return to practice as well as Jimmy G's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so both Jimmy G, his ankle injury, but Raheem, I think if he plays this week, it's going to be more of a snap count basis, just because knee injuries aren't something to mess around with. Like you said, Jimmy G, his ankle, he returned to practice, limited as well. Julian Edelman, seems like he's always limited in practice.
Especially on a Tuesday, Wednesday basis.
Yeah, but his knee was bothering him. Darren Waller, another knee injury there. He was limited in practice. Henry Ruggs, again, still, his knee. He didn't play last week. Neither did Brian Edwards. But Brian Edwards didn't even practice. But we'll get into that later. Kareem Hunt, his groin. Excuse me. Deshaun Jackson, his hamstring. Alshon Jeffrey, his foot. Adam Thielen, sorry. His shoulder he was limited today. Marquise Brown, his knee. OBJ, his toe. AJ Brown, his knee. But he's looking like he's going to play.
If they play.
They've
got to play for him to play.
Yeah, indeed. Calvin Ridley, his thighs banged up. He was limited. Cole Beasley, he was limited in practice. Came out of the game last week. Went back in for a little bit. But he is limited, or was limited as well. Zach Moss, his toe, coming back from that toe injury. He was limited in practice, looking like he's going to play.
Possibly get some play this week. He sat out last week, limited as well, but we'll see what happens. He was a last-minute designation, meaning that he probably is pretty close to be coming back. So hopefully with the full week, if that game goes, he should be a go-to, but just watch and see.
Mm-hmm. Devontae Parker, banged up. His ankle is bothering him. He's limited in practice. Laviska Shenault, his hamstring, he was limited. And then Drew Lock, he returned to practice.
Good. A lot of players coming back.
Yeah, like to see that.
And then there was also a lot of players that did not come back. There were a lot of players that did not decide to show up to practice today. Lamar Jackson missed with a knee injury. It's reported that it doesn't look concerning at all. It's just more precautionary to keep him healthy. Julio Jones missed practice with that same hamstring injury that's been bothering him for the past couple weeks. Sam Darnold is out due to a shoulder injury. Joe Flacco is going to be getting a start this week, so if you got him, take a look at him, but it's still the Jets, so be careful.
Yes.
KJ Hamler is still out with that hamstring injury. He's not going to be playing this week, even if the Pats and Broncos do fire up. Terry McLaurin missed practice due to his thigh injury. Juju Smith-Schuster, another knee injury on the board, not going to practice. Sitting on the sideline with Deontay Johnson, who is also suffering from a toe injury. And then we got Jordan Akins, got a little banged up this weekend, missed practice with a concussion. And then Brian Edwards as well, not practicing today, didn't play this weekend, and not showing up to practice today with a foot and ankle injury. So we'll have to see what happens with him. And then some really personally sad news. Mr. Dwayne Haskins has not only been moved from the starting quarterback, but has dropped all the way down to Mr. Quarterback 3 for the football team coming from Washington.
Oh, boy.
Kyle Allen will be getting the start, and Washington football team has named Alex Smith as your QB2. So if you're in a deep league and a deep QB2 league or Superflex league,
be on the lookout for those guys. Kyle Allen, he's on a lot of waivers. So is Alex Smith. I think he'll get a couple starts this year. I really do. And I hope he does because, after that gruesome leg injury, he's fought his way back and he might play. Might play eventually.
Earn that team back.
Yeah. And then Dave Njoku, he is clear to practice, so that's a great addition to that Browns offense, who's been firing on all cylinders the past 2 weeks. So
they're looking decent.
Close to it, yeah. And then Le'Veon Bell, he is returning from IR this week. Set to play. Are you going to play him?
No, I don't. I just don't trust that Jets offense. The only person I'm even really hopeful at all for would be maybe Jamison Crowder, and that's just in a PPR league because he gets the ball thrown to him a lot and he catches them. So I find him pretty good, but I need to see what they're going to do with Le'Veon. He was already kind of sharing the backfield with Frank Gore before he left, so we'll have to see what happens there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is our news, injuries, our question of the day, all that good stuff. Now let's get into our starts of the week. These guys are going to help you get those dubs this week. John, you want to start off with yours?
Yeah. So I'm going to go with you guys. Personally, a really big receiver I'm hot on this week is actually going to be Will Fuller.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know you guys just heard that injury designation, and we didn't see his name on there. He's going to be playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are going to be down both of their starting corners, including C.J. Henderson, meaning that they're going to be a little slower on the outside, and the Jaguars have already allowed the third most deep balls the third most deep balls and passing attempts to the receiver. So I do think that Will Fuller is going to be speedy enough and able to get behind them, able to get a couple deep balls, maybe even take one to the end zone. And I think he's going to be a really hot and great start, especially going against Jacksonville's defense. That new head coach situation.
They're going to play for him.
They got to play for him. They got to earn their spots on that team, especially with the new office moving in. So I like him moving forward.
Yeah, and he's been, other than week 2, he's been pretty consistent. Going up against KC, Pitt, he put up points. He did get in the end zone. And then last week, of course, he got over 100 yards. His second game this year out of 4 that he had over 100 yards. He really seems to be the only solid, reliable target there. Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks, the 2 tight ends, Fells and Akins, who's actually in concussion protocol. They both, none of them really are consistent, and Will Fuller is that guy for them. They really need somebody to step up while with the absence or the moving on from DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller. Throughout his career, he has shown that he can be a very, very solid wide receiver, both fantasy and in the game in real life. So as long as he's healthy, he is a great play. This week, like you said, they're missing their 2 cornerbacks. Jacksonville is, and Will Fuller is looking like a pretty solid start.
Yeah, I like him a lot this week. That lack of injury designation is really the hottest ticket there for me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go with them all.
Yeah, go.
And then I know I went with him last week, and it's because I really like this guy, and I continue to see a really strong start for him to continue, and that's going to be James Robinson. Actually saw maybe one of his not as amazing games. He is a rookie coming into this league and just had, a mediocre game, and it was pretty decent at that. Able to rush for over 100 yards a handful of times already this season. I like him a lot going against the Houston defense, who's been able to allow over 109 rushing yards to at least 4 running backs this year, including James Conner. Or was it Benny Snell that week? But they've allowed over 109 rushing yards to 4 running backs so far this year, and I do think that James Robinson's going to be able to take advantage of that, as well as being able to work in the pass-catching game. Gardner Minshew should be in for a halfway decent game. It should be not a shootout, but the ball will be moving. So I think that James Robinson's going to be able to find work in the air and on the ground this week going against Houston. And then finally, my last receiver going for you guys. I think Darius Slayton's going to be a really big play for you guys this week.
I hope so. We have him.
And mainly that's due to the fact that the New York Giants offense has been completely just stalled the past 3 weeks. They've only been able to score 3 touchdowns all season, with 2 of those coming in week 1. And just due to the law of averages, eventually Daniel Jones isn't a terrible quarterback.
But his offensive line is.
Their offensive line's really their main problem, and I think that this is going to be the time where Daniel Jones finally steps up. And I think that the person that's really going to be benefiting from that is going to be Darius Slayton, mainly due to the fact that he's his deep ball guy. They're going to be going against Dallas. It's been allowing a lot of yards to whoever's been playing them, whether it's the Falcons, it's the Seahawks. Obviously high-powered offenses, but there's still going to be a lot of passing going on in that game. And Dallas' defense has been allowing a lot of yards to it. So I do think that Darius Slayton's going to be able to get a handful of catches this week, and Daniel Jones is going to break out of that funk he's been in and be able to find the end zone. And I think Darius Slayton's going to be the one to do it. He was able to score twice against Pittsburgh, and there hasn't been any changes to that offense besides the fact that Saquon Barkley went down. So let's see what they can do against Dallas, and I think Darius Slayton's going to win you guys a week.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think that it's actually a great matchup. One of my streams of the week is actually Daniel Jones, his compadre. The Dallas Cowboys have just not been good on defense. That is their biggest issue. They've allowed a 114.3 quarterback rate throughout the entire season. They've also allowed the 10th most passing yards, which is not very good. And then they are tied for second in passing touchdowns allowed at 12. So not ideal for that defense. And I saw not a rumor, but somebody on Twitter, and obviously this has no substance. He was just putting out his opinions. He mentioned that the Houston Texans, now that they got rid of Bill O'Brien and their GM, also Bill O'Brien, they need draft picks. Their future's not looking good for a couple years because they don't have many first and second round draft picks. None this year, actually. Thank you, as a Dolphins fan. But I saw a scenario where the Texans should trade J.J. Watt to the Cowboys for a second-round pick, which I don't think that's bad. That's too bad of an idea. Help them get some pressure on the quarterback. Add to that offensive line. Imagine him and DeMarcus or whatever his name is. You know what I'm talking about? Their defensive end?
Everson Griffin?
No. He's a baller. Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence?
DeMarcus Lawrence.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, I was going to say DeMarcus Ware.
Oh.
Yes, but he used to be there, not anymore. But pretty interesting there. That'd be a pretty cool trade. Hopefully see J.J. Watt win, because he's not going to win on the Texans.
No, he's almost at the back end of his career, so no, I don't see him winning a Super Bowl in that time frame, especially with what's going on there. Mm-hmm. But no, I do think that Darius Slayton's going to have a great game. Eric Ebron, tight end start of the week. Personally, for me, he's going to be playing against the Eagles football team, the team from Philadelphia, who is tied for second most allowed touchdowns to the tight end, giving up 5 so far this season.
They're also first in the division at 1-2-1.
So, with the fact that Deontay Johnson left the game last week and missed practice again, I do think that Eric Ebron, who saw an uptick last week once Deontay left the game in his targets, finishing the game second most for the team, right behind Juju. So I think that Eric Ebron's going to find himself at least in the end zone once this week. Big Ben's going to tear it up against the Eagles defense, and it's going to be an absolute poop fest. I think Big Ben's someone who's going to have a good game and find the end zone a lot through the air this week, and I think Ebron is going to be getting at least one of those, as well as a handful of yards. You saw him in Indianapolis, especially when Andrew Luck was there, be an absolute baller. as a tight end. I mean, he came from Detroit, who really didn't appreciate him, didn't treat him right.
Do they ever though?
No, they don't. They never treat their talent right. And so you saw him go to Indianapolis and share the spotlight with Jack Doyle, who was still playing really well. And Ebron was able to stay relevant there. I think he's worked his way into that Steelers offense, and I think he's going to be getting a little bit more comfortable. Him and Big Ben did make a nice little connection in this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a week where you're going to be seeing it. You see him getting that uptick, and I think it's going to continue.
I really like that you say that because I picked Eric Ebron up in a league. TJ Hawkinson's on bye. So, that's another thing we need to talk about. Buys start this week, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But I picked up Eric Ebron because TJ Hawkinson's on bye, and I really hope that he balls out, which I do. I mean, that's the reason why I picked him up, because I do think that he's going to have a very solid day.
As someone who's going to be seeing a lot more targets this week, especially if Deontay misses, the Eagles are ranked 3rd in yards per target allowed to the tight end at 9.2. Ebron finds his most productive targets, not his average depth of targets, but his most productive targets in that mid to just under deep, being that 10 to 19 yard range, where he's able to get big, come down, and take a few yards in advance. He's not someone who's going to be seeing a huge yards after catch unless he's wide open, but he could take that speed, and he's someone who does have huge touchdown upside, being as big as he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that you're gonna great week.
Yeah, and if like you said, if Deontay doesn't play, they need a target.
And if I'm wrong, you know where to find me.
I do. Do they?
No, that's the point.
What is it? P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way?
Sydney, Australia.
Yep.
Come find me.
Oh, boy. And then your defense of the week.
If you guys need a defense this week, no one better to play than the Rams going against the Washington football team.
I would say second best.
No, absolutely not. So no one better to play than the Washington football team. They're obviously going to absolutely destroy the team. It's not the Eagles going against them, who we saw their true colors. They're currently ranked as the defense 12, owned in 85.4% of leagues. So if it's possible they're on your waivers. But I do think that this week, going against the Washington football team, you're going to get a hand, especially with Kyle Allen going in there, you're probably going to get a pick or two, which points to the defense. Not going to be seeing a high-scoring game, more than likely, points to the defense, and throwing a couple fumbles and some sacks, you're going to be happy.
Yeah, they were my defensive starter last week. They have a great defense. I definitely think that they're a solid defense, all around. They're one of the more highly drafted defenses, and their defensive line and those cornerbacks are really the reason why. And great matchup. Like you said, I think there'll be at least one interception and potentially a strip sack maybe, which would be nice. So pick them up. If they're owned in how many percent of the leagues?
85.4.
So they're not. There's still a couple out there that they're in, but if you have them, play them. So solid start there. But let me jump into my starts of the week. I really like this. Actually, when we do our show, and our starts of the week especially, John and I, whoever writes down the name first gets that person. So I had gotten in to start the show doc, and John had not written this person down, and I really like that. I really like that he didn't. And my first start of the week is Justin Jefferson.
Can I be honest about something?
Let's hear it.
Don't hate me.
Oh, I do.
Well, once I had to dive deeper and look a little harder into it, I actually like Will Fuller more than Justin Jefferson this week.
Oh, very well.
So, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hopefully.
No, definitely.
But we'll see.
I'm going to get into this real quick because a couple of things I really like. You know how you were talking about yards per target for the tight end? Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because the Seahawks, and actually I think this game is going to be a little bit of a little more pass heavy than the Vikings are really known to be. Mm-hmm. But yards per target to the wide receiver, the Seahawks also rank 3rd.
Okay.
Yes. So, and guess what? I did some digging. I did some research. Guess who is number 1 in yards per target on the season?
I'm going to assume, just based on the fact that we're here, it's going to be Justin Jefferson.
Nope. Olabisi Johnson. No, I'm just kidding. It is Justin Jefferson. I love to see that. Is
it because of that one long 75-yard catch?
I don't know. That could skew it, but he's up there. He's up there. And he's also, averaging the most yards per route run, third most in yards per reception. So, I mean, the guy is shown that he can play in the NFL. He's also the only rookie that made the All-Pro team for the first quarter. Something I like to see that just came out.
I love Justin Jefferson. Throwing this out there completely, think he's an absolute stud. But just because it's the person I am, he only made that because of that catch.
So, I mean, he's still getting, solid work. Other than that,
he's starting to get solid work now. I don't think that he should have made the first quarter team. I think he should have made, the second.
Well, we're only in the first quarter.
I know, but I think the way he started the season so slow due to how slow that offense was going, which I do not blame him for. I think that,
Well, you can't blame him for it if you can't blame him for it.
He should have made the list is my point. It's not his fault.
He did, though.
But he shouldn't have.
And he did. And we like that. Now I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
I lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? Oh, yes.
Will Fuller's going to have a better week than Justin Jefferson, is what you were about to say.
False. Trey Flowers is going to be on Justin Jefferson. He currently, PFF has him as the 107th ranked cornerback, on the season. Obviously, we know that Seattle likes to give up a ton of yards. Devontae Parker had a great day. And it's just going to be a good day for Justin Jefferson. I got that feeling. I picked him up, did a little digging. He's going to get in the end zone. I'm putting it down.
Okay.
93 yards and a touchdown.
93 yards and a touchdown?
Yep. He's not going to break that 100-yard mark, but he's still going to put up wide receiver 1 numbers.
Okay.
I like it.
See, he's the type of player where if I think he's going to get 90, he'll more than likely break 100 because he's getting that 90 on a breakout.
I'm being a little conservative.
You can, whatever you need to do.
Oh, I'm being it. Now, into my next start of the week. I got to put a little asterisk next to this just because Raheem Mostert did practice today in a limited fashion. Like I said in the news, I think he is going to be on a snap count basis, which will help my case. But Jerick McKinnon, he's been putting up very solid numbers the past couple of weeks while Raheem Mostert is out. And he's playing the Miami Dolphins. I hate the Dolphins.
Terrible team.
I hate the Dolphins. But he's put up solid numbers. He has not dropped below 13 points in a full PPR league. He gets involved in the passing game. The past 2 weeks while Raheem's out, he's gotten 14 touches or rush attempts, which is nice. And he's gotten in the end zone as well. But what I really, really like about him is the passing game work. Even when Raheem was in week 1, he got 5 targets. He did get in the end zone there as well. He is a very athletic runner. Once you get in the ball in his hands, he is primed to take it to the house. Anywhere on the field. He is, and I think that's why those running backs do so well. Raheem's the same way. Matt Breida was the same way when he was
Everyone
there.
except Telvin Coleman seems to really excel in that offense.
And that's why he's
on IR.
Yeah, even if he wasn't, though. Jeff Wilson would have jumped him by now.
I feel like they just put him there. They're like, hey, we want to not pay you, so.
Yeah. So, great play this week. I love Jerick McKinnon. So, play him if you got him. Play him if you got him. My quarterback start of the week, he's coming off of a quarterback 4. Finished quarterback 4 last week. Teddy Bridgewater.
Came in hot.
Ooh, he put up numbers.
The matchup.
He's got a beautiful matchup. I mean, I love it. Who does not like playing the Titan or the Falcons? I mean, if you're a quarterback, you're a wide receiver, you play football at all, you want to play the Falcons defense.
You do.
Yes.
You absolutely do. They've allowed the most touchdowns this season. They've allowed two interceptions so far. 1,400 yards. I mean, you're balling.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, I don't really have much to say other than that. Robbie Anderson has been a very solid crutch for him. And I think I'm not going to put it – I want to put it out there in the world just so he gets going. They haven't had the best connection, but is this the week DJ Moore gets started?
I believe so because of this. Because every receiver's been able to find relevance playing against the Falcons so far this season. I do believe that it's fine. I mean, DJ Moore did have a good week. I want to say week 2 or 3. He was able to put up 20 points in a full PPR league. I do believe that this is another week you can find him relevant. He's going to be getting targets. They still don't have CMC. Mike Davis has been able to do his work, but it's all pass catching work. So I see DJ Moore breaking one. I think he finds the end zone again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Teams have combined for 176 pass attempts against the Falcons. That is the third most. So obviously these coaches know they can pass the ball on the Falcons, and it's nice that we've seen. We thought with CMC out that the running back position would drop off, but no, it is not. Mike Davis is getting involved in the passing game as well. Robbie Anderson.
Does that take away from Christian McCaffrey's oomph, his talent, or is it kind of a system?
I think it's. I definitely think for a running back to get over 1,000 receiving yards and over 1,000 rushing yards, that's talented. Mike Davis could not do that in this system, so I do think it is the system a little bit, but I also think it's because he's so talented.
I would have to halfway agree. I think he's extremely talented, but I think there's a handful of backs that would do better in that offense in this league.
Alvin Kamara being one of them.
Absolutely. Alvin Kamara is probably the best multi-use back in the league, without a doubt.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay. Yeah, let's not get into that too deeply, but we can talk about that one day.
I think we're agreeing.
I know, but now I want to ask you who you think the other ones are, but I don't want to sit here and waste 6 hours of everyone's time when we've got a whole Thursday night to go through, and I want to hear who your tight end of the week is.
I'm trying to think of other backs.
Saquon. You don't think Saquon would excel in that backfield?
No. I think he'd do good. I don't think he'd do like Christian McCaffrey numbers, but I mean he'd do close. I wouldn't say he's like leaps and bounds. I think Alvin Kamara would be like leaps and bounds. But yeah, let's not get into this.
I was going to say it could turn into a huge conversation. We could talk about it one day.
Awesome. Jonnu Smith is my tight end start of the week. Now, I hate doing this, putting a little asterisk next to it. Make sure that they're playing, please. Hopefully they do. I really hope they do. The Bills have allowed the six most points to the tight end position. They're very good, against pretty much every other position, except for the tight end spot. Jonnu's obviously been off to a hot start. A.J. Brown is coming back, which does concern me a little bit, but I do think we're still going to see tight end 1 numbers from Jonnu. He's been becoming an integral piece of that offense. And with Corey Davis out, because he's on COVID list, if they do play, they're going to have that number 2, and I think Jonnu Smith can definitely be that.
Do you have a backup if he doesn't play?
Do I have a backup? Yes.
Is it not Mike Gesicki?
It is not Mike Gesicki.
Okay, cool. Who is it? If you say Ian, no, stop.
I'm not going to say Ian Thomas.
Okay. You can say it then.
I'm going to say Rob Gronkowski. Rob.
It doesn't want to come out.
Yes, Rob Gronkowski. Yes, he is. We'll get into that a little bit later because we're going to do our Thursday night preview today. So, but yeah, Rob Gronkowski would be my second, and I don't like saying that. It hurts a little bit, but it is what it is. We're just trying to win championships over here. And then, of course, my defensive start of the week is probably the easiest start of the week. I mean, it's similar to quarterback and playing against the Falcons or wide receiver playing against the Falcons. If you got a defense playing against the New York Jets with Joe Flacco, 2 picks, 3 picks, 7 picks. They may set a record.
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 years ago. I don't know. He played like it was 12 years ago. So, yeah, it's not looking pretty. I know Mekhi Becton's still banged up. If he plays, even if he does, the offensive line wasn't that great. So play the Arizona Cardinals. They haven't been amazing, but I do think they will get a couple turnovers and put up some points for you. Because really, on defense, that's what you want is a couple turnovers. Even if they score a few points, it is okay as long as you get those turnovers.
Absolutely. It's not too much about points. You got to look at your scoring settings and see how your league's weighted. If it's scoring, turnovers, what really gives your defense points. Some leagues will have sacks at a full point. Some leagues will have them at a quarter point. It's something you kind of want to look into. But I like your starts.
Thanks. I like yours as well.
A couple of them could have been mine if I was a little bit quicker to the draw, but I like where I ended up. And something else that, I think needs to be mentioned. Do you know that Teddy Bridgewater going against was going against the team that has allowed the second most amount of rushing touchdowns to the quarterback.
So he's got some rushing upside.
He does have some rushing upside this week. I mean, the Falcons have allowed three rushing touchdowns.
Beautiful.
You know who else has some rushing upside this week?
Who's that?
Matt Ryan.
Yes. He's known for his mobility.
Absolutely. What a stud in the backfield.
Yeah. I would say Ryan Fitzpatrick's turning into a mobile quarterback.
Okay, before we get too wild here.
How many rushing yards does he have? I mean, he's got to be leading the league next to Lamar, right? I mean, every time I turn around, that dude's running.
Sam Darnold, man. You saw him. You saw those burners?
That was, I think,
fake slide.
His first run. Yeah, that was dope. That was
a stutter step.
Yeah.
He was falling. It wasn't a fake slide.
Yeah, he was like, ugh.
But no, moving on. So that was our starts of the week.
Boom.
If you guys have them on your rosters, you will be playing them and wanting to play them over pretty much anyone who's not a must start at this situation. So if we're talking our receivers, you're not going to be playing our guys over DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't know. I think Justin Jefferson, no, I'm just kidding.
You're not going to be playing them over Devontae Adams if he plays full and healthy. Anyone who's an obvious must start, you're not going to play them. But
John.
What's going on?
Are you going to play, let's see, Jerick McKinnon over Aaron Jones?
Yes, because Aaron Jones is on a bye week.
All right, good. Keeping you on your toes.
No, but I would not be playing Jerick McKinnon over Ezekiel Elliott this week.
Yes, that's wise.
So, yes.
Wise of you.
So make sure you guys understand that these are must starts that aren't obvious starts. So get them in your lineups. Take them out of your bench because if they're there, you're going to miss out on some points.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into this Thursday night preview where we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on to Chicago to take on the Bears. Both teams sitting at 3-1. Do you think this is going to be a high scoring, low scoring?
I don't think it's going to be that high scoring, to be honest. They've both got very good defenses. Chris Godwin is out. Leonard Fournette is doubtful. Mike Evans is banged up. Scotty Miller is banged up. And that's just on that side. And then you've got Nick Foles on the other side he got the job done, kind of last week and the week before that, but he's not the best quarterback, especially unless he's coming off the bench and, he's not going to put up numbers. So the Tampa Bay defense has been, lights out. They've got, solid studs everywhere. Defensive line, their linebacking core is probably the best in the NFL. Top 5.
It's up there. They have a really good linebacking core. They do have a really good defensive line as well. I would say their weakest point might be their safeties.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I would say cornerback. They got Antoine Winfield who's been balling.
True.
But still, overall, solid defense. They've been one of the best, I think, top 4 fantasy defenses in the league.
Only third.
Third.
74th overall player.
Whoa! So if
you drafted them in the 5th round, in the 6th round, you did decent.
Congratulations. But yeah, I think it's going to be a low scoring game. To be honest, like I said, I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. Couple players I'm avoiding. One player I'm avoiding.
Well, currently the over under for the game.
Pull that up.
The over under sitting at 44.5.
Yeah.
with the Bears having a +4 spread.
You taking the over? Are you taking the over? Or you taking the under? 21-23 game.
21-24 game would put you at the over. 21-23 would put you at the under. But 21-24? No, I don't see it. I see more of like a 17 to 26, 24, 20, somewhere in that area.
I could see it being like a 17 to 13 game, something like that. Bears
I see
getting
maybe
1 touchdown and 2 field goals.
Yeah, so I no. I don't see this as a high-scoring game. I do see this as a high total yardage game where the ball's going to be moving down the field for a portion until someone stalls, and then it continues to move the other way. This isn't just going to be a 3-and-out fest. But I do not see people finding the end zone other than a random breakaway. So personally, a lot of players I'm going to be staying away from. But with those injuries that you just went over, I think Ronald Jones is more than likely going to have a really good game, and possibly Keyshawn Vaughn as well. If I'm in a deep league and I've got a lot of flex positions or some situation where I have no running back, but for some reason this is an option for me, I could see Keyshawn as like a super weak flex option for some people. In one of my leagues, I have to play absolute terrible running. I have to start Chase Edmonds as a running back. And realistically, I think I'd be happier playing Keyshawn Vaughn with that pass catching that he got last week. Hopefully seeing some more with just the limited options they have there. Hopefully he gets a little more.
Well, yeah, he only got 2. I mean, total he got six touches, 5 touches.
You didn't even come in until the end of the game.
Oh no, I know, that's good. No, that's good. He got 3 targets
once everyone started
in
getting
the last quarter or so. I think it was like last quarter and a half or so. But he could definitely. He's very sneaky. He's a very sneaky guy. Very sneaky up. Has some sneaky upside and is a good pass catching back. So if he does, put up. Can get a little bit more involved in the passing game. LaShawn McCoy's banged up. Leonard Fournette, like I said, it's doubtful. He's definitely, I could see him being a deeper, stream potentially. I'm not playing him if I don't have to.
No, yeah, absolute long shot. You're in a really deep multi-flex, multi-running back, and there's no one on the waivers.
Yeah, definitely.
High. Low floor. Possibly could have a flexible day if he gets some touches.
Mm-hmm.
And I think last week with him getting on the field finally kind of is going to be something that leads towards that. Especially like I'm saying with possibly Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, OJ Howard's definitely out. Leonard Fournette might miss. Scotty Miller might even miss. You're running out of receivers there. I think they're going to be looking to the talented running back they just drafted.
Yeah, my gut tells me Mike Evans and Scotty Miller are going to play. They were questionable last week as well. They both played, but really that just leaves Gronk. Obviously, OJ Howard, like you said, is out. So he's definitely Keyshawn Vaughn's definitely a solid, or a good upside, low and flex player. So. Like I said, Rob Gronkowski, another guy. There's not many weapons. That's why I think you could start him this week. I have a feeling he's going to get in the end zone. I just got that feeling right here. Maybe it's all the carbonation, but I have that feeling he's going to get in the end zone. And you can play Scotty Miller and Mike Evans. Mike Evans for sure. Scotty Miller, I think you can flex. So those are my takes on the Buccaneers. Do you like Scotty? Yeah.
It for me it's a matter of if he plays or not. I would say Scotty's a good solid flex play if he plays. Personally, I think Miller might sit. I do see Evans playing. But if Mike Evans plays, you're looking at a low end 1, high end 2. Not looking at his normal absolute monster self, but you're going to be playing him if you have him and he's healthy. Other than that, you can play Gronk. I think this is a week to play him, especially if everyone's hurt. If you're going to take a shot on him because you have him on your roster, because he's not sitting on your waivers. This is the week to do it. As far as the Bears go, Nick Foles against this defense, is that something you're going to take the investment on or no?
No.
No, not at all?
Nope.
Nothing interesting there?
Not at all, unless I'm in a 4-quarterback league.
A 4-quarterback league?
Yeah, 4-quarterback.
Hey, They might exist somewhere.
He's a low end too. Obviously, if I'm in a 2-quarterback league, I would play him. I do think, like I said, low quarterback too. But I don't see much. There's not a lot of upside, I don't think, for him. I think he's going to be, maybe his highest upside would be a mid 2. I don't see him putting up quarterback 1 or anything like that on this defense. So no, I'm staying away from him. If I'm in 1 quarterback, 2 quarterback, I'll play him, but whatever. David Montgomery, I do like this week as a flex play.
Really?
Just as a flex play. Not a running back 2. I think he could finish low-end running back 2 on pure volume alone. He got 86% snap percentage, which was nice, the highest of the year for him. And I like the fact that he's getting a little bit more involved. So, yes, I am playing him in one of my leagues as a flex play, but I'm not very comfortable, like I said, with him as a running back 2 or higher.
I'm not comfortable with him anything more than a flex play at that. Mm-hmm. Again, it's obviously dependent on who you have to replace him, but I don't think you're going to be getting anything better than what you got last week from him this week. So, he's going to give you solid numbers, playable, better than playing a complete question mark. He could have upside, though. He's someone who should be seeing some good carries, just like you said, purely on the fact that Tariq Cohen's out. You said he did get 86% at the snap count. He did only get 16 touches throughout the entire game. That's moderate amount. Hopefully this week we'll be able to get more, especially with it being a lower scoring Thursday night game. Running backs seem to be doing a little bit better in those weeks. So I think that's a decent start. I just wouldn't give him much more than a flex.
Yeah, and that's what I said. You know, flex play is what I'm at. It's anything other than that. You don't get the warm and fuzzies.
No, not when you were expecting a lot from him going into this season.
Yeah, Allen Robinson, I'm playing him. You got to. Wide receiver 12 in standard, wide receiver 13 in PPR on the year. He's shown the past 2 weeks with Nick Foles there. He can be a top-tier receiver, the one that we thought he was going to be. So I'm playing him this week for sure. You're not going to take that out of your lineup.
No, I think Allen Robinson's a great play this week, even though it is going against the Bucs. They have been making some players be able to be relevant, but I think Allen Robinson's going to be the only relevant receiver coming out of this game unless either Mooney or Miller come out on a deep ball to end the game again or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you playing any of the other receivers?
At the same level of risk that I might be playing Keyshawn Vaughn, it's only at a super necessity. Darnell Mooney is someone who's been seeing an uptick in targets, but he is coming off of a slight bang-up injury. So I'm not going to be taking the risk on him this week. And Anthony Miller's been in weeks where he's gotten 3 targets but no catches. So I don't want to take the risk on him either. So realistically, no. The only Bears player I'm comfortable playing this week is going to be Allen Robinson, with a lot more players comfortable to play sitting on the Bucs.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. I do think both of their defenses are solid plays as well. I think there's going to be a couple turnovers this game, so good defenses as well. But that's our Thursday night preview. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
If you like defense, I think this is going to be the game for you. If you don't, then don't watch it. So, let's get in before we get into our beer of the day. Bye weeks. Those are starting this week. Remember that. The 2 teams on bye this week, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, which stink. It stinks.
It's 2 good teams if you're going to be playing anyone from the quarterback or the receiver position because high upside, especially Aaron Jones at the running back. So stinks to stink, but you guys got to make sure you're paying attention to bye weeks coming up.
Yep.
Make sure you guys know who's going to be on bye in week 5. We'll be letting you guys know later this week. We'll get over some ideas about who you guys are going to be wanting to play when those bye weeks happen. So pay attention to what we're talking about and pay attention to your teams and schedules.
Definitely. Now, let's get into our beer of the day. This was the Slightly Mighty by Dogfish Head Brewery. They were opened in 1995, John.
I am older than they are.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Interesting fact for everyone.
Yes. Yes, also. They... I'm sorry. Their headquarters is currently in Milton, Delaware. The brewery gets its name from Dogfish Head, Maine, which is where the founder, Sam Calagione, I can't say that, Calagione maybe, if I'm saying it wrong, Sam, DM us. But he, Calagione?
Oh, don't keep pointing it out. I can't. Yep.
Yeah. So
thank you, Sam.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. But it's where he spent most of his summers as a child. So that's where he got this. This can is actually pretty dope too. It's got the Maine lighthouse, I'm assuming it's in Maine. Lighthouse. You got some cool different little art on it. Some hops. It's got a boat as well as a tent and a hot air balloon. So it's pretty adventurous.
Yeah, I mean, I like the lighthouse on it personally.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I think it's a really nicely designed one personally. From living in Jupiter, Florida, lighthouses, mean something to me.
It does.
But I do like the hot air balloon. Really great can art.
Yeah.
Surprised that it is low-cal. It does have that full beer flavor, as well as having a 4%, which isn't high for a beer, but isn't low by any means. Coming in higher than most of your American lagers. So really, really nice to see. Able to keep that that bodily figure while having your nice Sundays and watching football. But it does come in, like I said, at a 4% ABV and a 30 IBU, making it that IPA flavor come in robustly. Fun fact about it, though, it is low carb, low cal, 95 calories and 3.6 carbs. And if you're really into the gym, it does have a gram of protein for you guys, you muscle heads out there.
Ayo.
So happy for all you guys. What they do is to make it so low cal, they use a monk fruit extract as a zero cal, zero carb sweetener to make it have a little bit of sweetness without making it too calorie heavy. And then it's brewed with aromatic hop varieties that give a nice little citrus head to it. As far as the smell, just hoppy. A little bit of citrus hop to it. Yeah. Not much more to it. There's no major undertones, nothing that's really I'm picking out highly.
It's an IPA.
It's a strong IPA. As far as the flavor, you get a nice little burst of that hop flavor, a nice little smack of bitterness, and then there's a little bit of citrus to make your mellow little palate a little more mellow. Mm-hmm. But it is actually really good as someone who's not super strongly into IPAs. It is something I can easily drink and continue drinking. I'd recommend it, and personally, I think my rating for it's going to be a 7.3.
Woo-wee. I like that rating. Before I get to my rating real quick, I just want to tell them a little bit more about the brewery. Between 2003 and 2006 is when they really boomed. They grew by nearly 400%. There's 3 current locations, one in Gaithersburg, Maryland, Falls Church, Virginia, and Fairfax, Virginia as well. They were also, one thing that really got them prominent was they were featured on Beer Wars on the Discovery channels. Yeah, pretty dope. So you can also find them in 31 states plus Washington, D.C. So go to their website at dogfish.com. And, of course, there is a fish finder is what they call it. You can find you good over there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You can find the beers there and whatnot. I do like this beer a lot. Actually, there's a couple other low-cal IPAs that I've been drinking lately. Got to watch my figure, watch my beer intake and such. So I'm gonna give it a 7.1. It's pretty good beer. I enjoy it. If you're not really into IPAs but you want to jump into that IPA game, this is a good beer to get your toes wet. Have a couple, get used to that hoppiness, that IPA feel, because it is a lighter IPA. It doesn't really, it's not very strong IPA. Taste wise, so it's very good to start getting into that if that is something you would like to do. But thank you everybody for listening. You guys have been amazing. We feel like you're sitting in this room with us right now. We can feel.
Yeah, there's a chair there. You guys are sitting in that bench over there. Really appreciate you guys joining us. Really appreciate all the support and love. Keep it coming. Really can't wait to make more contact with you guys. Really start producing some Instagram and some Twitter content for you guys to keep up with. That way, if you don't have the full hour to sit by with us and keep going, you at least can get our thoughts and ideas, our starts, our sits. But do make sure you guys reach out to us. We do have an Instagram and a Twitter. It's going to be at thefantasytap. There you can reach us. Give us your fantasy football advice. Your start sit questions, your trade advice.
Yes.
You can hit us with some beer facts.
Ooh.
Some, hey guys, check this out. Hey guys, find this one.
Hey yo.
And if you guys want to, don't want to hit us on the social media, we also have an email.
Yes.
Make it nice and easy.
Yes.
That's going to be thefantasytap@gmail.com.
We are sophisticated.
Just slightly. Where you guys can send us, again, any questions pertaining to fantasy football, beer, life.
Anything you want.
Checking and balancing. You guys want to send us your socials, don't be afraid. Don't know what to do with them, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we DM back, people. We DM back. We've got quite a bit of people who, DM us on the regular. Just fantasy football questions and stuff like that. So
not only do we DM back, but we actually research before we answer. It's not just a quick answer. Both of us work full-time jobs still.
Which is one reason we've been slacking on the Instagram. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, so both of us work full-time jobs. And so me personally, I know I go to my phone at least twice a day during work while I'm eating lunch or trying to take a break. And I know I have questions. I have texts from Mike asking me how I feel about certain things just so he doesn't overstep or make sure that he doesn't convey my point as well. So we do actually really take the time to answer your questions, and we will give you our best answer before we press that send button. So make sure if you guys have the question, send it our way. Even if you don't agree with what we have to say, just at least look at our advice and see if it's something that, let it pique your interest.
Exactly.
We're here to help. We're not here to hurt. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you guys enjoy your Thursday. I really hope this game doesn't turn out to be a absolute stink fest. Make sure you guys pay attention to any news, COVID news especially, and we will see you guys again tomorrow on Friday.
Yes, sir. Love you guys. Have a great day. Enjoy Thursday night football.